So we are up to Siman Tov Yud Ches. We're talking about now the din of a tanis on Rosh Chodesh. Are you allowed to fast on Rosh Chodesh? We started the Hilchas Rosh Chodesh yesterday, and we said Rosh Chodesh is mutar b'asiyas melacha. We also said yesterday that there is a minute that women don't do melacha, certain melachas. We said yesterday about sewing and weaving and that sort of stuff. Perhaps kvisa, but doesn't apply to washing machines. Anyway, there's a minhag for women not to do melacha. And now we're talking about dinei tanis on Rosh Chodesh. So says the Mechaber, Rosh Chodesh asa b'tanis, Sif Aleph. Rosh Chodesh asa b'tanis. You can't fast on Rosh Chodesh. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Sif Cotton Aleph, Va'anshe kehila kadesha vermaisa. The famous kehila, Misanin b'Rosh Chodesh Sivan. Although the Mechaber says you're not allowed to fast on Rosh Chodesh, they had a practice to fast on Rosh Chodesh Sivan. Why? There were terrible tragedies and difficulties in that time period. B'shnas Tov Tov Nun Vov le'elef chamishi v'oimrim slichas v'tachanunim, and therefore they introduced the tanis on Rosh Chodesh Sivan because of the tragedies of the time, and said with slichas and tachanunim. Because of Ramah, B'tshuva Siman Ayin Tes, the lo yalfinu minayu ba'alma, people shouldn't learn from them after in tachanunim, with regard to tachanunim, even with regard to tachanunim. Well, in tanis shois imuta aim be'halacha. Okay, so they apart from that particular community who introduced it because of that specific reason, people should not fast on Rosh Chodesh. B'tanis umevule el b'siman kuf peichesh afilu ochal perez yotza ve'ein tzarich pas. If you look at footnote number 1, interesting thing. What about a person who's got a yard site? Yeah, many people have the practice to fast brought in halacha on a yard site. So what if the person has yard site on Rosh Chodesh? What do you do? So if you look at the first footnote in the second paragraph, Umi sheyom hayard site al oviv imay chal b'Rosh Chodesh. Kosav Shulchan Orach lekamon siman tov kuf samaches sheyisane b'yom shelemachros Rosh Chodesh. The Shulchan Aruch says you make it up. Don't fast on Rosh Chodesh itself, but fast on the next day. V'haramah kosav she'ena tzorich lisanes klal. The Ramah says you don't, and I think that's Ashkenazi practice, based of course on this Ramah, that if it falls on a Rosh Chodesh, your yard site, you don't fast. You don't fast. If I'm not mistaken, just from many years ago, remember the famous book All for the Boss. Yeah, All for the Boss, Rabbi Yaakov Yosef Herman. Yeah. I know he always happens like this. Crazy. Yeah. So if I'm not mistaken, from reading that book many years ago, he was a parish and he would eat very little. I think he would fast every day, and he would have like one meal a day after night, and he had a specific thing. He went to the doctor. I remember eating. He would have a certain thing. He had a pear. After, like for dessert, he would have a pear. And then nutritionally, he just worked out with the doctor what's the optimum thing to eat. Anyway, he was that was his hanhaga. But he was very careful with eating. But he insisted his kids would eat. And I think Ruchama Shein, she was the one who wrote it. That's his daughter. That's from Scheinberg's sister-in-law. Yeah. Anyway, so she said that it fell out that he died, if I'm not mistaken, on Rosh Chodesh. That even at La'achamoisei, he would make sure that his kids would eat. That they couldn't, even that one day a year they would fast. He made it they couldn't fast them. So this is on the Ramah that they would have to fast. Okay, now what about a chosin and kala? The minhag is a chosin kala, when they on the day of their chasna they also fast. But what if it falls out on on Rosh Chodesh? So if you look at the next paragraph in footnote 1, for chosin v'kala sheyem chupasum chal b'Rosh Chodesh kosav lekamon shelo yisanu. So chosin and kala, if you want to schedule the wedding, then you can schedule it on a tanis, on a Rosh Chodesh, to avoid chosin and kala fasting. However, there is an exception. I remember I had once teaching a chosin years ago, and he was very excited about that. But then I told him there's one exception. That's Rosh Chodesh Nisan. If it's Rosh Chodesh Nisan, they still fast. Chutz Rosh Chodesh Nisan, he brings it here, and Av, which is that's not it's not k'shayich because it's in the 3 weeks. For Av shebohem aleihem lisanas, they should fast. So if you look at the next paragraph, he says, "Lisanas Rosh Chodesh Nisan va'av kol zva Shulchan Aruch lekamon sheyesh mishaim misharoi lisanas bohem mishum sheBrosh Chodesh Nisan meisu bnei Aaron." The bnei Aaron died in Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Rosh Chodesh Av meis Aaron. Yeah, we're coming up to Rosh Chodesh Av. So Aaron HaKohen died on Rosh Chodesh Av. V'haramah kosov Shetov Shlele Hashlim Satanis, and the Shabbat says, Shekim Sheyesh Rishonim Asorim She'ein Sanis Bohem, Umidach Yeshovim Shatanis Zaniskan B'meichach Mei Talmud, Lochem Bal Nefesh Yach Melasma V'Yisane. V'siyem Shemish She'ein Rogel Lisanis Bohem, Af Im Irele Ezet Tzara V'Rotz Lisanis, B'Rosh Chodesh Nisan, also Lisanis Mishum Shemut She'tomit Noeg By Is Satanis, etc. So the practice is nowadays that a Chassan and Kala do not fast when their Chasna is on a Rosh Chodesh, apart from Rosh Chodesh Nisan. By the way, it's not. There's grounds for this. I've got a whole share on the Chassan Kala fasting on the Tanis. It's on. It's up on the website on Torah Anytime as well. That there are grounds for leniency. I remember once teaching a Chassan, and Dan Ehrenschreiber, that's how he went up to that Chassan and he said, "You are not allowed to fast on your Chasna. I know you, and you don't fast well, and you'll faint under the chuppah, and you're not allowed to fast." Yeah, I remember telling him. Yeah. Okay, let's go weiter. Seif base. Ein geyzrin tanis ala tzibah b'Rosh Chodesh Chanukah v'Purim. Chazal or communities cannot be geyzer tanis tzibur on Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah or Purim. V'im hischilu, and if they began the tanis shegozru l'sanis kach v'kach yomim. So, for example, they said, okay, we're going to have a series of Monday, Thursday, Monday fasts. And the series began. You began fasting that because of they fasted for a certain thing, lack of rain or whatever it was. And they started that sequence before Rosh Chodesh, and it fell on Rosh Chodesh. And then you can fast. So generally speaking, we're not geyzer tanis on Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah or Purim, but if they started a series of tanesim, like I said, Monday, Thursday, Monday, and then it happens to fall one of them on, let's say, Rosh Chodesh, then you would fast. So it says Mishnah Berurah, you've got in Gimel, Ein Geizrim, Vim Avru V'Gazru, and if they call a fast for Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah, Purim, and then Ein Gezeiros Gezeira, it doesn't work. It's not effective. Ein Strichen Nisanas, you don't need to fast. B'Yosef Achenis Kimacharinim, Vim Ischilu K'Gain, so you've got in Dalet, Shegazru Al Miut K'Shomim. They made a gezer tanis, they gozer tanis because there was lack of rain, v'chudoime, or similar reason. Lisan sheni v'chamishi v'sheni, like I just said. V'loi asku adatayu, they didn't work it out. They didn't think shebe'echod mehem yochel Rosh Chodesh, that in 3 Thursdays' time it's going to be Rosh Chodesh. V'ischilu lisanis, and they began the sequence. Chal gezeirosim b'diavad. Then b'diavad, that decree is effective. They didn't intend to uproot Rosh Chodesh, and therefore it's going to be chal. Umashlimin b'shar tanis with the rest of the fast. V'adin the Chanukah Purim misanim mashlimin, and so too if this sequence landed on Chanukah and Purim, also misanim mashlimin kivin sheschilu kvar lisanas, because they already began the sequence of fast days. V'cholamoid nami have Chanukah v'Purim Rosh Chodesh, same with cholamoid. Or kamed v'vur lekamen simen tov kuf ayin beis. V'da the besimen tov kuf ayin beis mavur b'achreinim the chol zeh hoyim medina beretz Yisrael aval hoidna tzibur dinim k'yochid umafsikin b'Rosh Chodesh umashlimin yom acher. And nowadays we actually stop if it does fall on Rosh Chodesh, and you'll make it up on another day. Okay, good. Gimel. Yochid shekibel olav tanis, an individual who's for personal reasons was makabel tanis, kach lekach yomim, a certain number of days, or pog Rosh Chodesh. So, for example, Rosh Chodesh is next week, right? Next Wednesday, I think. So, if a person says, right, I'm fasting for the next 5 days, let's say a Motzei Shabbos, he said that. So, and it happened to be Rosh Chodesh falls on one of those days, or he undertook to fast on Rosh Chodesh. I'm going to fast on Wednesday. If he just says, right, I'm going to fast the regular Loshen Kabbalas Tanis, then it's just not effective, and he doesn't even need Hatara. That if he actually undertakes it in the form of with an expression of a neder, then tzorech hataras chacham, you've got to go to a chacham to be matzah neder, to undo it. V'ayim b'yardeh, siman reish tes vov, sif gimel. Okay, it says in Mishnah Berurah, sif koten vov. Oy b'rosh chodesh, zu ve'in tzorech lo mezu ktoni. In other words, Yochid shekibel of tanis, etc., etc. Oy shekibel of, or he says expressly. So zu ve'in tzorech lo mezu, it's not going to work. The Kabbalah b'ferish b'Rosh Chodesh, or he certainly, if he was makabel b'ferish, I'm going to fast on this coming Wednesday Rosh Chodesh. Afilu gzer sibel lo mahani. it doesn't work. Kamesha Kosavnu. Efsha the Nokat Mishum Sefer always says it because of the Sefer, that if he tells it B'Lashon Neder, Dafilu B'Zem Haitz B'Lashon Neder, then that would be Chal. Maybe that's the Chiddush. Ein Tzorech HaTorah. So if he is Geyser on himself, he said, I'm going to undertake a series of fasts for this next coming days, or even he says, I'm going to fast this coming Wednesday, Rosh Chodesh, it's not Chal. Ein Tzorech HaTorah, it doesn't mean HaTorah. V'davke b'tzibur, da'alim g'zeirasam, echmiru b'gazru al kach v'kach yomim, u'pagim Rosh Chodesh v'chanal. When are we go? When, in the previous case, the community, the Rabbanim, whatever, got together and said, right, we're going to fast a series of Monday, Thursday, Monday fasts. And they overlooked the fact that in 2 Mondays' time it's going to be Rosh Chodesh or Chanukah or something. So that's when it's going to be Chal, but otherwise not. For Kosva Poiskim, the Ein Tzorech Lefreya Isatanis. And moreover, if a guy does say that, like I'm going to fast next week, every day and only eat in the evenings, and he forgot that it was Rosh Chodesh one of those days, he doesn't even need to make up on another day. It's just not Chal Bichlal. It's not Chal at all, and therefore you can just ignore it. For nearly Dafka, this is specifically, says the Mishnah Berurah, Kishakibel Olav Tanish Sheni V'Chamishi Shekol Hashana, that he undertakes, I undertake to fast every Monday, Thursday for the rest of the year. I shall Kama Chadoshim for a number of months. V'ir B'hem Rosh Chodesh, and it falls out, or Rosh Chodesh on one of those days. Hasam Shaykh Limit Ein Koach Kabbalos Chal Klal Al Yom Zeh She'os B'Tanis. That's when we say it's not Chal. And therefore you don't need to make up on another day. Avur Yom Acher. Avul K'Shekibel Of Stam Kach V'Kach Yomim Lisanis. But if he says, for example, I'm going to fast the daytime and the next 5 days, V'Ira Bahem Shabbos Yom Tovim V'Yontav Rosh Chodesh, and then in that period of time it falls Shabbos, Yontav, Rosh Chodesh, you have to skip out, you can't fast on those days, and you have to make up for it another day. Because there you didn't designate specifically Rosh Chodesh, you just said I'm going to fast for the next 5 days, and you forgot that it was Rosh Chodesh on Wednesday, let's say. But if you say, however, B'Lashon Neder, Hari Olai, then you need the Hataras Chacham. Says the Mishnah Berurah, the Nedarim Cholim Afal Dvar Mitzvah, because for a Neder that is Chal on a Dvar Mitzvah. Umiu Muchach B'Yerdeh Siman Reish Tezvav Sif Aleph, the Mechuyev Lishlal Nidral Kadesh Lisana. But you're Mechuyev to be shayl on your Neder. You can't let it run. Umavur Sham Oid the Peischin Loi Bahem, and they can be Pesach. You can undo it. V'Oimrim Loi, the Chachamim, the Basim will say to him, Ilu Samta Al Libcha Sheyivchu B'Tei Chazman Hazeh. Had you thought about it and you realized that actually in the days that you undertook to fast, then it's actually going to be Rosh Chodesh or whatever it was. Then would you have made the neder or matirin, and therefore we are matir neder in that situation. Okay, good. Dalet. Im nishba lehisanis kach v'kach yomim. So a guy undertook, he made a shvua now. Now this is more serious. He made a shvua to fast for a certain number of days. V'ir b'em Rosh Chodesh, and Rosh Chodesh falls on one of these days. Hashvua chola olav mitam isa koilel. Now what does that mean, isa koilel? It says in the Shvura, Sif Kotten Tes, the migu dechal shvuosu ayomim hamutarim, chal shvuosu nami gam, ayom hasurim betanis, or kolol oisam b'loshen acher. So that's a famous expression in the halachas of Shavua, isa koilel. So for example, matzos, yeah. So if this, let's say this Sunday morning, he said, I undertake the Shvua to fast for the next 5 days, then we say it's going to be Chal on Rosh Chodesh. Why? Because of Issa Koilel. Since it's going to be Chal on the non-Rosh Chodesh days, then with Issa Koilel it's going to affect the Rosh Chodesh day as well. So says the Mechaber, Im nishba lisanis kach v'kach yomim ve'era b'hem Rosh Chodesh hashvua chala olav mitam Issa Koilel. Ve'im nishba b'feirish lisanis Rosh Chodesh. And if he made a shvua expressly to fast on Rosh Chodesh, merely shechala olav shvua kiven she'ena elamid rabbanon, it is Chal. Because why? Because the not to eat on Rosh Chodesh is a drabanan, and the power of his shvua is deraisa, and therefore the shvua is going to overpower it. However, that actually the prohibition of fasting on Rosh Chodesh is actually min haTorah. V'ayin lekam siman tov kuf ayin. Okay, says in the Mishnah Berurah, nearly shechol shvua olav shvua koloima shegam bazeh chol olav shvua kiven because not eating is only a drabanan and his shvua is deraisa, and therefore the shvua is going to win. And drabanan valkein shvuas chala olav ache yatir, and therefore the shvua will be chal. that he can't eat on Rosh Chodesh until he's matzir that shvua, he undoes it. Kamavu b'yeredeh, siman reish lamed tes yivov, and that's how you do it. You have to check out the yeredeh over there. V'alkein b'doneinu nami mechuyev lahatzir, and he's also mechuyev to undo the shvua, because he needs to eat on Rosh Chodesh. Now, the Rambam, however, is of the opinion that eating on Rosh Chodesh is a must. And you cannot fast on Rosh Chodesh, and that's Minat Torah. Says the Mishnah Berurah, where does the Rambam get this from? Hainu midchsev v'moyadeichem of Rosh Chodshechem. Iskish Rosh Chodesh lemoyed. V'alkein ein shvua chololov l'didei rak b'koilov v'chanal. And therefore, it will not be chal the shvua unless you have isakoilel. So if a person says, l'mashal, that I make a shvua, I'm going to fast this coming Wednesday, which is Rosh Chodesh, so then it's not going to be chal according to the Rambam, because he's got a mitzvah deraisa to eat, and therefore the thing is not going to be chal unless it's an isakoilel. For example, he says, I'm not going to eat the next 3 days or the next 5 days, and one of them happens to be Rosh Chodesh, then it would be chal. Aval hashach b'yerdeh siman reish tezvov sifkot and yudalev kosav da'afilu tem Rosh Chodesh midaraisa also lisanis. Even if you say, like the Rambam, that it's also to fast on Rosh Chodesh Minat Torah, it's still also. And mikol makom shvua chalalov kivin she'einu mefurish b'Torah behedja. Still, the shvua is going to be chal. Why? Because it's not mefurish b'Torah. K'Shabbos v'Yontav v'chein hiskim apri chodosh. It's not mefurish in the Torah. So take a look at 12 and 13. Even though the Rambam says it's deraisa not to fast on Rosh Chodesh, however, we are knowing, like the first shit of the Mechaber is, that it's only midrabanan, and that's also the opinion of the God. Okay, and 13, if you look at footnote 13, for Issa deraisa l'sanas b'Shabbos, on Shabbos it's an Issa deraisa to fast, kosav bi'alocha, shenimel mi'aposuk achluhu hayoyim. On Shabbos. Oh, that's coming in a second. Very good. Because it says because it says okay. Oh, now we'll get there. You'll see. Very good. Next halacha. Hey, right. So let's say Friday night you have a horrific dream, and you wanna fast now. You're allowed to, but you have to make up the tanis with another tanis. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Sifkot Miyud Gimel, tanis chaloim, shemutza lihisanes afilu b'Shabbos v'Yontav, v'chadzilel b'simen reish peiches v'adinim misanet b'kamishum neder. And why is that? So from memory, I think the Mechaber says back there, the Ramah, because for you, fasting is an oneg. It's an amazing svara. In other words, why can't you fast on Shabbos? Because you got to eat. Yeah. As we said, v'karasel Shabbos oneg, and there's a mitzvah of eating nice things on Shabbos. But for you, your oneg is to fast to sort of dissipate the effect of the dream. So a tanis, but you got to do a tanis l'tanisay. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Yudalet, kadei lechaper olav. Why have you got to make up for it? You got to do another fast for the fact that you fasted on Shabbos. Kadei lechaper olav ad shal bittul oneg Rosh Chodesh, because here we're talking about Rosh Chodesh, because you were mevatel the oneg of Rosh Chodesh. Uchmei le'el siman reish peiches le'inyan Shabbos. Because of Magen Avraham she'nis'an etanis chalom Rosh Chodesh Nisan or Rosh Chodesh Av. If, however, you have a tanis chalom Rosh Chodesh Nisan, then ein zorach le'mitzvah tanis letzet. Then you don't need to make it up. Ta'yeh shoyim the mitzvah Nisan is born, because as we just saw, some say there is a mitzvah to actually fast on those days. Uchmei v'lekam b'siman Tov Kuf Pei. Okay, so that is the end of Tov Yud Ches. There's an issa to fast on Rosh Chodesh. And therefore Chazal and the community should not be geizer, and a person who undertook to do it is not even chal, unless he made a shvur, then it would be chal. The two opinions, Yochid shekil of tanis kach v'kach yomim, where is it? Nishpal is anis kach v'kach yomim, then hashvur would be chal, because of the Issa Koilel. If he says, I'm going to fast the next few days, then Issa Koilel fast. But if he didn't say Issa Koilel, he says, I'm going to fast this Wednesday Rosh Chodesh with a Shvua, then it would not be Chal. However, the Rambam would say it is, and the Shach even not. Okay, we'll leave it there.